If you're not making $20,000 a month as a consultant, B2B consultant, agency owner, service provider, then you're doing something wrong. Sorry to be that blunt, but I believe that if you have a specific track record, if you have 5 to 10 years, you have a reasonably rare and valuable skill that you can sell, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be making $20,000 in revenue. And I believe that, especially looking back at my own career and the amount of time it took me to get to 20,000 a month, I believe that there were several mistakes that I've made that now in retrospect that I would like to elaborate on and to tell you that, again, there's no reason why we shouldn't be making 20,000. And if you're not making 20,000 and you'd want to, then there's probably a few, maybe 4 mistakes that you're making. So this is what I would like to cover in today's video. If you don't know me, my name is Michael Bohannes. Me and my wife, we run a business where we help B2B consultants to build client acquisition systems and be less dependent on referrals and repeat business. Repeat business and referrals are great, but if you depend on them, not a good idea. So if this is interesting, check the link in the description. But now let's go on with the content of this video. It took me 4.5 years before I hit my first $20,000 a month in my business. And I believe that knowing what I know now, of course, I could get there much, much faster. But I don't think it's been necessarily because I acquired so many different skills. I do believe that I could also, if I could simply teleport myself with my current knowledge, not necessarily with the client testimonials and all of that, if I could just transport myself into that time, I know that I could get to a significantly higher run rate much, much faster. And that is because I made 4 mistakes. So I hope that these also apply to you, that you can take something from them. So mistake number 1 that I did is I didn't have a clearly defined avatar. I had not 3, but just 1. Like recently, I spoke to somebody who has built a specific product solution, and he was talking to 3 different client personas at the same time. He was talking to B2B SaaS companies, to cybersecurity consulting firms serving this market, as well as to brick and mortar businesses. And he was talking to all of them virtually at the same time. And I think it's so much better to date sequentially rather than in parallel. If you explore one client avatar and you do that systematically for, let's say, a month or 2, you only talk to one type of people. And your goal is to speak to at least 30 representatives of that market. If you don't make a sale during this time, then probably it is time to move on to another avatar. But this is a much better approach to do it sequentially. First avatar 1, then avatar 2, rather than both of them or even 3 of them at the same time, because your insight into one avatar's mind compounds. Like by the 10th person that you're talking, you will have much more insight. You will be ready to pitch them. You already know what they're going to tell you. And by the 20th, even more so. And you can get there much faster than if you're trying to balance 3 different personas. Reason number 2, why you're not scaling to $20,000 a month is because your service offering is all over the place. That was definitely in my case. At some point, I had a client who I was doing email newsletters for, and I think I only charged him some $500 a month. And I had a client who I was doing a hardcover thought leadership book for. It was like a 200-page book, and I effectively ghost wrote the whole thing. And I believe I charged some $30,000 for that. And those 2 different clients, I had them as part of my portfolio. This is way too broad, right? Because if you have these types of services, you just do whatever people need from you, then you unfortunately get into this kind of freelancer artisan mode where you are just effectively selling your time. That's all it comes down to. You cannot build processes, you cannot build systems to help you with service delivery and do it much faster so that you can start employing people. It will never work. You will never be able to scale with this way unless you work like crazy hours, which we don't want to do. So the service offering should be really narrowed down. I recommend that you narrow it down to one specific problem for one specific avatar. With this already, naturally, your variation within the services will be reduced. And of course, you can, on the edges, you can offer something different. Like I've had one client who doesn't want a podcast necessarily, but for them, we're doing a little bit more YouTube videos. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't change much in terms of internal processes. But to do an email newsletter for one client and a hardcover book for another, that's 2 very different businesses, and I recommend not mixing them. So have one central offering that you can tailor on the edges. Problem number 3 is that you're spending way too much time in delivery work. And for this, I have a very simple rule of thumb. For every $2,000 in retainer revenue, you should be maximum spending 4 hours a week. That translates to approximately $115 hourly rate. And if you are spending significantly more than that, you have to be aware that this is what you're selling your time at. So anybody paying you $2,000 a month, they will get 4 hours of client delivery work. And if they want more, and if they kind of threaten to leave you, then you might need to sharpen your value proposition and really make, well, what can I sell that will put me at a higher rate. And if you're doing it out of fear, I see many people kind of over delivering to their clients because they do it out of fear, because they worry, what if they leave me? Well, that again is a signal that you should probably work on what is the problem that you're solving for them? And are you solving that problem well? Are you doing a good job? Do you get them results? All of that is worth looking into, because you cannot, when you have whatever 10,000 in revenue of 3, 4, 5 clients, and you effectively completely maxed out, that's all that you do. Well, there's a problem there. You will never be able to scale. So what I strongly recommend is you really do an inventory. How much is each client paying me? What is my hourly rate for each of those clients? And by the way, I am not advocating you sell your time by the hour, but everything effectively comes down to an hourly rate, right? Even Grant Cardone has an hourly rate, or whoever your influencer is, Tony Robbins has an hourly rate. Depends on what people are paying him, and he has products and he has all kinds of packages, but still he has an hourly rate. Just do an inventory of all the clients that you have, see how much they are paying you, and then see what can you outsource? What of the service delivery can you outsource to other people, to virtual assistants, to somebody who you can hire on a freelancer basis, so that you get to spending maximum 4 hours a week on each client. And if that is just too far off, then I would strongly recommend that you reconsider working with these clients, or just tell them, hey, we need to talk about this. We need to kind of change the compensation structure, and be willing to risk that they will walk out on you. But you cannot. It is absolutely possible to get to $20,000 a month as a competent service provider, but you have to have like streamlined processes and a value proposition that people are actually willing to pay for. So do an inventory of all your clients, see how much time you're spending on each of them, outsource what you can. But if you're making $10,000 a month, it means that you should have 2.5 days of your week are spent on client delivery, and the remaining 2.5 days you can spend on new client acquisition. And that gets me to point number 4, is that maybe some people indeed do have those 2.5 days where they have available time, but they are spending them wrong. They go to networking events. They just take random virtual coffees with people. They are reconnecting with old friends because they happen to work at a company where they might have an in, and so on. It's just all completely haphazard. Sometimes you go to on random people's podcasts because you think, oh, they have a podcast, so maybe I can reach my clients there. It's all completely unstructured. And there's just one thing, that if you just do that, you will get to a $20,000 run rate, provided you've done what I said in point number 3. But if you did the following, you will get to 20,000 run rate within 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And that is prospecting. Sorry, I have to break it to you, but simply going after your avatar, going after your ideal client persona, and making them an offer, asking them if they have that problem that you help them solve, making them an offer, ideally one where they have like there's a certain risk reversal. Like if you offer a money back guarantee or something like that, and you make them a good offer, and you have sort of streamlined your service, your value proposition, so that it's more or less predictable, you will be doing similar things for similar people, then there's absolutely no reason why if you have 3, 4 clients now, that you could get another 6, 7 clients in the next couple of months. Just sign up 1 or 2 new clients a month, and you will get there. Once you have them and you have them integrated into your processes, again, you are only spending about 4 hours per week on every $2,000 that you're receiving. And I'm sorry that I'm beating this dead horse, emphasizing these 4 hours for $2,000, but that is the way how you get to 20,000. The fact that you are carefully monitoring and auditing how much time you're spending, you're effectively carving out time so that you can do new business development, that's going to get you to 20,000. I cannot imagine that with you following these rules, that you cannot get yourself to $20,000 a month. There must be some kind of glitch somewhere along this line of points that I've made, somewhere that you're not doing. Maybe it could be that you simply don't have enough skills that make you so valuable that people are willing to pay you this kind of money. That's fine. That is possible. And we have to work on that effectively. And that means that you need to develop yourself. You need to, if you are in this position where you feel like, I need to kind of reskill a little bit, I need to somehow pivot what I'm offering, absolutely, that might be necessary. In this case, yes, you will not get to 20,000. In this case, I strongly recommend that you do projects at a discount, that you just prove yourself, that you just get some clients who pay you a little bit just so that you don't starve, and you develop these skills on working on and for those clients. Okay, the expectations will be a little bit lower because you provide a discount. You do as good a job as you can. You work overtime so that you develop those skills. But as soon as you have a couple of credible client testimonials, you will have those skills, and you can then go after the really valuable clients and do what I suggested. That was it. I hope it was useful. Those are 4 main things that I believe might be holding you back from making $20,000 months. If that was useful, please subscribe to this channel. And if you believe that we might be able to help you build client acquisition systems for your consulting business, just let me know in the description. You can click on it or not. If you don't feel like it's no problem at all. I hope this video was still useful for you. All the best. Ciao.